So hello, this is a little experiment that we're trying here. So I'm Geert, this is Nathalie. We're from Belgium. Nathalie is still learning English, so she's gonna do her best. And I've been playing the Eigenharp for quite a while now, and Nathalie and we are together in a few bands, and she's thinking about actually picking up the Eigenharp Tau here to start playing music on it. And so one thing we thought would be interesting is to kind of document how your learning process goes from the beginning onwards, like every step you encounter and everything that you need to have explained to be able to play with the Eigenharp, right? So Nathalie already started a little while ago with the Eigenharp Alpha, but that's been quite a long time now. And so we're going to start from scratch with the Eigenharp Tau here. Just turn on this light.
It was with the Alpha.
Yes, it was with the Alpha. So I kind of laid out everything here a little bit, so these are Nathalie's figures. So when you get the Eigenharp Tau, you get a few things. Of course, you get the instrument here. This is the Eigenharp Tau. Just quickly, you don't know this, but people that are thinking about buying it, on the bottom here, you can see a spike that can be retracted, kind of adjusted to your height. This is an accessory. This doesn't come with the Tau by default. So this is called the cello spike that you can buy additionally. The same thing goes for the breath pipe. The breath pipe doesn't come standard with the Tau. You'd have to order that separately. So it kind of depends if you want to play with your mouth, with breath or not. So so those are two things that you kind of have to be aware about. This stand that's to the right of me is also optional, of course. It doesn't come with the instrument. However, what comes with the instrument are these things that you actually need to connect the Tau to your computer. So in the back here I've got my MacBook Pro, which is now already 3 years old. It's quite an old computer already. It was maxed out at the time, so it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's a Core 2 Duo 2 processor, just so that you know, because that's kind of the minimum you need to be able to play with the Eigenharp. So this is what we call the base station, right? So it's a little box with Eigenlabs written on it, and basically what it has, it's got three inputs, 3 connectors, right? Mm-hmm. So in the middle here you've got the power connector, you've got the USB connector, and then the connector for the instrument cable, okay? And so corresponding to those 3 connectors, we've got, of course, 3 cables. So we've got one power cable here that goes to the transformer, right? And a transformer that has a regular power plug here that you can then use to plug this into the mains electricity. So what I did here, I already have a mains cable connected up to electricity, so I'm just gonna plug this into transformer. And once it's plugged in, you see this green light turn on, which is pretty standard on any kind of transformer. And then what you do is you take the other end, which is 24 volt DC, comes out of here, and you just plug it into the base station. That's all. And you'll see that on the other side of the base station, light turns on. So this becomes orange to start off, which means that the instrument is not connected. It kind of detects that it's running, but that it can't find the instrument, so the Eigenharp Tau, connected to it, right? So if you can see the light turn orange, and even if your instrument is connected and it still stays orange, it's probably that you either didn't plug it in well enough, or forgot to plug it in, or maybe that you've got a faulty cable. It can happen. But this kind of tells you if the base station can talk to the instrument or not. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let me just put the transformer on the ground here. So that's the base station. So we don't need this cable anymore. This is the one that you get with the Eigenharp. Just put it away. So we had 2 other connectors here. One is the instrument cable, right? So I put this little Velcro strip on it so that it stays neatly together. So this is a special instrument cable. You can't find this in regular music stores. It's got a special connector at each side also. So these connectors have a very specific direction in which you have to plug them in. So I don't know if you can see this here, but there is a little arrow. You probably can't see that. It's quite small. So there's a little arrow printed on the metal plug here, and it's on this little sleeve, this iron sleeve that slides back and forth. This arrow always has to be on top when you connect. You always have to see it. So you keep it on top, and then you kind of plug it in the base station. You hear a click, means that it's connected. So now actually the cable can't be pulled out. If you want to remove it, you've got this sleeve with the arrow on. You just pull back on it, and then you can pull it out. So that's kind of a protection. Okay? So that's one end. And actually the other end of the cable is the same. It's the same connector. Just gotta find it. There it is. So it's the same connector, and you plug that into the instrument. So here at the bottom you've got the same plug as here. It's this it's a round plug with a whole bunch of holes. I don't know how many holes there are there. So, 5, 10, that's 13 holes, and it's using 5 of those. But anyway, so this cable, you plug it in exactly the same way. So you look at the top of the instrument, and then you've got the arrow facing you, and again you kind of slot this in the same connector.
The arrow on the top?
On the top, yes. So you have to see the arrow always, and then it slots in. And similarly, this cable also can't be pulled out. You have to again pull on the sleeve to pull it out. So already you can see now, this takes a few seconds, but it's done now. The tau has started up, so the tau is actually awake. How can you see this? You've got this little light blinking here. It's a green light, it's blinking. And also when you touch the keys, you see that they start illuminating, right? And of course, on the base station, the light here turned green also.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
So it's connected.
So the base station is connected to the tau, and it knows it exists, right? So it's ready to be connected to the computer. Now something that's quite handy with all Eigenharp instruments is that there is no order. If you first connect the base station to the computer and then the cable to the tau, that's okay. So if you connect everything up and only then plug in the power, that's okay also. So there is really no order. You can do it you can start off with whatever you want.
It's different than the other instruments.
Yeah, some other instruments you have to be very careful what you plug in first. In this case, it's not like that. Even, and we're going to get into that later, if you start a software that makes a sound, even if the software is running, you can unplug it. You can only plug it in later. You can kind of change your instrument if you want to take it elsewhere. You don't have to be careful about that. Which makes it very convenient when you use it on stage also.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the third cable. This is a USB cable that comes with the Eigenharp Tau. Something to be aware of is that you should try to always use this USB cable. It's kind of thick, you see. If you look at other USB cables, a lot of USB cables are much thinner.
Mm-hmm.
This is a high quality USB cable. There have been some tests done, and with other USB cables you can get some bad connections and information that is not sent correctly from the instrument to the computer. So this cable really is the one that you should try to use. It is also quite long, so there's no real reason to use another one. It's the maximum length that you can use for a USB cable. It's 2 meters.
And you can buy it?
Yes, you can buy this in a regular store, but you have to be very careful that it's a thick one, and then there's something written on here, on the cable, I think. There's kind of a reference on here that says that it is a high-grade cable. You have to be aware of that there are different qualities.
It's important to tell it.
Yes, it's important.
Mm-hmm.
So it will cost a bit more in case you have to replace it, but that's just the way it is. So you've got 2 ends to the USB cable, of course. You've got kind of the square end here, that's with the triangle sides. So you plug that into the base station, goes here. And then the other end goes into the computer. So I'm just going around here now. See if I can put this in the back of the screen. Yeah, I think it will just be long enough. And then in the computer, you just put it in a USB slot, whichever one is free, right? So you've got USB slot on the side usually. Just put that in here. And that's that. Okay. So I've got this screen mirrored on the big screen. It's easier for us, it's easier for you, so that you can easily see what's going on the screen. So what else have I got here? I've got a few spare mouthpieces if you use the breath pipe that comes with the Tau. If you want to play with other people so that you can exchange with another mouthpiece for hygiene, or if one breaks, or so you can replace it. And then you've got this strap, it's also optional, so that you can wear it across your neck or across your shoulder with the Tau, but we'll see that when that happens. And then here, and this is kind of the most important part when you start off with the Eigenharp, and that is the quick reference guide. So this is the latest version that kind of takes you through everything step by step in terms of functionalities. I will be looking at this one also because I usually play the Eigenharp Alpha. Mm-hmm. So on the Tau things are a little bit different. They're the same functionalities are on the instruments, but they're a little bit located differently. So I will probably have to refer to it once in a while also. But this reference guide is really your friend in the beginning, because it's got everything with diagrams neatly laid out. So. Any questions about that? It's clear? Okay. So what we have now is the Tau is connected to the base station, and the base station is connected to the computer. Now, to be able, something that I have to say though is, I connected my computer here through a special cable to my studio monitors, so that we can hear sound, right? So this is kind of dependent on your setup. You will use our setup here because well, we've got the same equipment. But if you do this with your setup, you might just use the speakers of your laptop, or you might plug in earphones into your laptop. You can also plug in earphones into the Tau, but we'll get into that later. So it kind of depends on how you want to connect your computer to your sound system. So if you've got any questions about that, about your specific sound system, if you don't know exactly how to connect it up, then you can always send a comment and we'll see if we can figure it out together with you to see how you connect that. But in this case, what I did, just for the technical guys out there, I have an optical cable going out, so with the digital audio, so not going over analog, so the audio is sent without any loss to my audio interface, which is a metric halo audio interface, and that one is connected to my speakers. So, okay, so we're ready to actually make the Eigenharp come alive. So how do you do that? You basically first install the latest version of the software. This is already done for you, but if you want to go and get the latest version of the software, you basically go to the internet, just turn, and then you go to eigenlabs.com, and if your instrument is registered, then you can go to community and support software, and then you'll find the latest version that you can just download and install. So once it's installed, so that's where we're gonna start off now. So when it's installed, you basically go to the Go menu and then to Applications. Right? This is where all your applications on your Mac live.
Can you put the luminosity
a bit up?
Yes.
Okay, let's see from that side. See how that? Yeah, that's okay. So, so you've got the applications here, and I've got different versions of EigenD, which is the software that the Eigenharp runs with, called EigenD. I've got different versions installed here. I'm going to use the latest one, which is 2.0.58 right now. So when you go in there, you'll see a whole bunch of different applications and PDF files. Mm. The one you're interested in is the one called EigenD. That's the one that starts all the functionalities of the Eigenharp. You'll also find this Tau quick reference guide here if you want to look at it when you're on the computer. You can just open it, look at it in preview. But what we're going to do now here is double click on Eigen D and it will start up Eigen D. So for those that installed this for the first time, it's not the case for us here because we're kind of using this computer for a whole bunch of other things. So if you use it for the first time and your instrument is connected, so your Tau is connected, it will automatically start up and load kind of all the functionalities for the Tau. In this case though, since we're using it with an Eigenharp Alpha and an Eigenharp Pico and an Eigenharp Tau, I set this up to start off with a blank slate, so it's not doing anything. So what you have to do then is go to factory setups. Okay, so factory is what we ship, is the setups that we ship. A setup is like a configuration. It's what the instrument does. So you go into the factory setups and then you select Tau, and then you've got one factory setup.
And just
yes.
for the first time.
Well, no.
After that, it opens automatically.
If you want to have it open automatically, you can click here on default setup, and then the next time you will start Eigen D, it will automatically load that one. But this also means that if afterwards you connect an Eigenharp Alpha, it will also load the Tau setup automatically. So it kind of depends on how you use Eigen D. In this case, you will probably always have to go and select it, because we share this configuration, right? So once you clicked on it, either you double click to load it, or you press on the load button, and then it will start loading the setup. So this can take a little while, because this setup is we call a factory setup. So it's a setup that Eigen Labs created to provide all the functionalities that are possible with the Eigenharp, right? So you're able to play with, I don't know how many sounds there are, it's 13 different instruments. You have drum loops in there, you've got a sequencer in there, you've got synthesizers in there, you can change between 8 different scales that are pre-programmed, you can change your tonics, you can change the bass notes of everything, and then you can configure a whole bunch of other things through advanced setups. So this is a very complete configuration, which is why it takes a long time to load, right? Something to be aware of though, which is quite handy, is that you can load it and put the laptop to sleep or your computer to sleep, and if you wake it up again afterwards, it will just work. You don't have to reload it again, it will work. It will re-communicate with the Tau, it will find everything again. So if you just work, for example, in the studio for a whole day, you can just leave it running, put it to sleep, you come back, you wake it up, and you don't have to wait for it to start up. It's immediately there, which is quite handy. So it's almost finished loading here. So as soon as it's finished loading, you'll see that here on the Tau, a whole bunch of lights will appear. So currently it's kind of a blank slate. You only see lights when you press the keys. But when it's finished loading, you will see that some lights appear here and some lights at the bottom here that give you actual direct functionalities into the Eigenharp. So any questions about starting that up? Okay, let's just wait until it's finished loading. And it's almost done. So there you can see all these lights appear, right? So you've got a red light here, and you've got 4 orange lights at the bottom. Now just to show that sound is working, you can press this button, which you pressed accidentally yesterday. And you can hear a little, Charleston action going on like that.
So the Tau is ready to...
Tau is ready to play, right? So you can hear the sound. So that's it to start everything up. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next installment of this initiation into the Eigenharp Tau.